Yeah, since Coach Blue has taken the helm, you know, she's always been a very good recruiter, and we're starting to see that, what she's been able to do by using the transfer portal and just to bring in new talent with the freshman class that she has in this season.
It's Kayla Blackshear and Princess Harden for Tech in Kennesaw State in the circle. The Yellow Jackets control the tap, and they look to remain undefeated all time against Kennesaw State, 15-0. Kayla Blackshear sends it down low to Aisha Won-Adanaz. And the freshman Augustinaite with the easy two.
Well, we know she's not afraid to shoot it. She's just continuing from a game ago.
There's a look at Kennesaw State's starting lineup. One change, Kendall Golden getting her first start of the season, replacing Layla Hood in the front court. Carly Hooks weaving into the lane, too strong, and Augustinaite with the rebound. For the Yellow Jackets, it's the same group they've run out the last 2 times out. Again, missing Kara Dunn, their sophomore forward, who went down in the first 2 minutes on opening day. Augustinaite from Lithuania. And nice denial that time from Kendall Golden, a transfer from Vanderbilt, now in her second season at Kennesaw State.
And this is what we're seeing. Kennesaw State doing a great job right now defensively. They're limiting Georgia Tech's penetration. Georgia Tech wants to run and get transition points. Early in this one, Kennesaw State's doing a great job.
Ripped away by Carly Hooks. Augustinaite wins it back. You know,
that's always tough.
Yes. One of the changes for Georgia Tech this year, Fallon, you asked Coach Blue about it, they're not quite as big as they've been in years past as Morgan takes it to the basket, draws the foul. What does that mean for Kennesaw State trying to defend this group?
Well, I think the key is they have to box out and get rebounds. And I think what we've seen this season, they're averaging around 20 turnovers a game in their first 3 games. So they need to limit the turnovers, protect the basketball. Georgia Tech, they're looking to get defensive steals to create offense, not get offense in their offensive sets because they're smaller. So that's something Kennesaw State needs to do. If they do those two key things, I think they'll be in this game this afternoon.
Tonie Morgan hits her first free throw on all ACC freshman team selection a year ago. She's averaging 17 points and 6 assists per night.
Oh, no. Tonie Morgan's just going to continue to improve. She's just that type of player.
Now Kiera Berry, leading scorer, feeds it ahead. Harden down the left side. She's swallowed up by Kayla Blackshear.
That was a good aggressive move by Harden. Blackshear, good, just better defense.
They get it down low. Too easy for KB.
And hey, she's the leader for this Georgia Tech team. She has been balling out of control, leading this team in scoring thus far this season at 19.7 a game. So she's making it look easy in her first 4 games.
Shooting 58% from the field, too. That's top 5 in the ACC.
Yeah.
Berry, a 3, too strong. Won-Adanaz with the rebound. And Kennesaw State, again, the shooting woes continuing here. They've missed their first 3 shots from the floor. Morgan gets a step on Hooks and an easy 2 off the window.
And Tonie Morgan's first step, I mean, it's tough for anybody to defend that. She's such an incredible athlete. Makes it look easy when she goes in the lane.
Lily Willis, her first year as a starting point guard. Ball back in her hands. Harden curling around. Can't get it to fall. Another rebound for Blackshear. Morgan, nice Euro step. She gets the block, and she'll go to the line.
Yeah, and Tonie Morgan had her mind made up going to the basket. She knew she had her defender on her toes, on her heels, and just decided to take it to the rim. She had Augustinaite in the corner on the wing looking for it, but she decided to draw the foul, and now she's at the free throw line for 2 shots.
Free throw shooting was a huge story in both Kennesaw State's last game and Georgia Tech's last game.
Yeah, no, and it worked out for Georgia Tech. You know, like we talked about Thomas Harris earlier, really stepping up in that game against Rice, 8 for 8 from the free throw line. Key free throws that they needed to overcome and get that road win. And the same for Kennesaw State. When we see how they played against Georgia State, that was their Achilles heel, and not knocking down free throws to get a road win against GSU.
Yeah, Morgan misses both of those. Kennesaw State, meanwhile, as you said, went 7 for 17 from the line in that 10-point loss. And the roll finally for Princess Harden, Kennesaw State on the board.
And you see Kennesaw State doing a fantastic job of getting back defensively, making Georgia Tech work their offensive sets to get something offensively.
And look, when you've played 3 games this season and struggled to score, gives you a little added incentive there defensively to get back, because you know it's been a bit of a grind on the offensive side. Here's Princess Harden's last bucket.
And you see right here, she just took her time, found her spot, and, you know, shot it. She's been aggressive to start this game, and Kennesaw State, they need some additional scoring. They can't just rely on Berry to get it done this afternoon against Georgia Tech.
And Harden was one of the 2 names Coach Blue gave us. The other, Carly Hook. She needs those 2 to step up offensively and give Kiara Berry a little bit of support. Around the horn, Laredo lines up a 3. Offensive rebound, Blackshear.
That was a good swing, good rotation and passing, but when you got a Kayla Blackshear down there to clean it up, that's even better.
And Berry called for the offensive foul there. Augustinaite plays with that inspiring energy foul, and she's one of the high motor players on this Yellow Jacket team.
I mean, she had the muscle for Blackshear when she got the offensive board and put back. She's high energy, and she brings a lot of good qualities with her energy as a freshman, and her poise has been so key. But that was a big-time defensive play for Augustinaite.
And they thought she'd come off the bench with the injury to Kara Dunn. A turnover. Kennesaw State with the Tonie Morgan grabbing at that left knee there as she went down. But with Kara Dunn going down, Augustinaite being asked to start, and she's delivered so far on both ends first couple of weeks. Morgan Diller just checking into the game. They feed Golden. Willis slicing down, and she'll go to the free throw line.
Yeah, and that's a good aggressive move by Lily Willis. You know, playing the point position, but just decided to penetrate. Georgia Tech's playing a man-to-man and being very aggressive. So sometimes those lanes are open, and you just have to penetrate and drive, and that's exactly what Willis just did.
The hope was she'd get a little more playing time last year in preparation of taking over the point guard spot, but she got hurt in the first half of the season, didn't play after the new year. So she's kind of having to learn on the fly here for this point guard position.
Yeah, she is. Only appeared in 8 games last season, so this is key. It's a learning experience. You know, she's just a sophomore, but has a lot of the intangibles that Coach Blue likes, and that's why she's playing at the hardest position, I think, in the game of basketball.
Well, for a team that's among the worst in the country in free throw shooting, a good sign with Willis knocking down both those free throws. Tonie Morgan all the way around and tried to dump it off to Blackshear. And again, the active hands for Kennesaw State. That time, Trenise Taylor, the freshman from Alpharetta.
Yeah, that was good rotation. You can't just keep your eyes on Tonie Morgan, and I think that's what happens sometimes, and she's able to get those assists. But that was a good job by Kennesaw State to just rotate to get that deflection.
Well, that was one of the first things Coach Blue told us. We have to do a good job today of defending away from the ball. We can't get caught watching the ball, not against this Georgia Tech team. Five seconds to shoot. One out of Nas. A dribble. Kickback. Morgan's got to let it fly from way out. She sinks it. Oh, man.
There's not much you can say about that. That's just big time. We talked about the improvement in her three-point shooting, but, you know, she's such a leader. Will put this team on her shoulders, and she knocks down a big 3 while the shot clock was winding down.
First 3 for either side today. Golden works it back out. Tough pass. Willis nearly connected to Taylor.
Yeah, that was a nice look by Willis. Just a little too high, but, you know, that back door is going to be there, especially with the aggressive defense Georgia Tech plays on the rotation.
So she'll take a seat. Now coming in, it's Kaylin Fields, the freshman point guard. Tech breaks the press. Won't out of Nas. Over the shoulder feed.
Good lob pass. Good job by Tonie Morgan, really setting up Blackshear with that easy lay-in.
Well, it's no surprise. You've got Morgan and Blackshear both top 10 in the ACC in scoring. They've got 12 of Georgia Tech's first 14 points and a turnover on Kennesaw State's side. That'll take us to the first break. The Yellow Jackets have hit 6 of 7 shots from the floor. They've got a 10-point lead at the first break this afternoon inside McCamus Pavilion. One more time, Tonie Morgan with the bailout.
Greatness is
Off in the afternoon, then stroking the electric keyboard. Georgia Tech band showing out big time after a late night at football last night. Tonie Morgan, she got her sleep in, Fallon. She's off to a strong start for the Jackets.
Oh, yeah. She must have gotten her rest because she is getting it going early. Already perfect from the field and perfect from behind the three-point line, which has been a major improvement for her this season. Right now, still just around 29–30%. But that was a big bailout three she hit before we went to the break.
Yellow Jackets break the press out of the timeout. Jackets still rolling with their starting group here, a 10-point lead. More subs for Kennesaw State. Blackshear leaves that one way short. And here comes Carly Hooks, a 2-on-1 with Morgan Dillard. Hooks, and it's blocked by Augustinaite.
That was a good job defensively by Augustinaite, getting back and then giving Georgia Tech a defensive presence so they can set up their defense.
Harden. Dillard into the paint, and Laredo with the rebound. Kennesaw State now 1 of 7.
Yeah, Kennesaw State, they're going to have to box out and try and get some offensive boards against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech hasn't done great in boxing their opponents out or allowing them to rebound pretty well in their first 3 games. So that's something that Kennesaw State needs to hone on because that's a key to this game for them.
Augustinaite, the kick out. Laredo, the 3. And still in play. Gets her own miss and left it off the finger roll. And this is Kennesaw State basketball.
That was some good hustle. Laredo was really getting after it and went in amongst the trees and got bounced around a bit, but unfortunately doesn't get to finish or connect on the lay-in, and Kennesaw State gets the ball back.
She went sideline to sideline there.
She did.
Willis back in at point guard. Harden, a long 2, swish.
And that's a big-time shot for Harden. Quiet so far in this game, but that was a good shot right there to get her on the board.
She really came alive in the last month or so of the season a year ago. That's why Coach Blue was so optimistic on what she could bring for them offensively this year. Augustinaite looking to back down. The freshman Fields hanging, hitting.
That's a tough shot. That's a tough shot. It's something you don't really see a freshman doing, but the confidence, that's what Coach Fortner says. She has all the confidence in the world, and it's just a natural score.
You can see the way she curled those lips and over the teeth saying, yeah, this is my game. Turnover for Kennesaw State. That's their 4th here in the first quarter.
In the no-look.
Yep. She's got everything. Laredo with some spaces. Willis takes a tumble. From 3? Oh, yeah! And she blows a kiss to the student section.
She definitely brings the showtime to Georgia Tech. Really has all of the game time little antics to show when she's shooting her. She has it cooking. She's going to let the crowd know it.
Tell you what, she's an NIL dream, isn't she? As Princess Harden continuing to find her stroke. That's a great sign for Kennesaw State.
That is. 2 shots back-to-back for Harden, and seems like she's starting to get to her spot and able to knock down that free throw line, Jay.
Yeah, she's got all but 2 of Kennesaw's points this afternoon. Whoa, not a Naz. Why not go to Augustinaite? Now down the lane. She can't miss, Fallon.
Yeah, she's got it going. She's looking like the old 23 we used to talk about from Chicago, the way she's just putting on a show the last couple of possessions for Georgia Tech.
The Yellow Jackets shooting close to 70% here in the first quarter. And an easy interception for Tonie Morgan. Laredo trailing. Morgan does it all by herself.
And that's a good read by Morgan. Fields got a little too deep in the paint for KSU, and Morgan read it and got the lay-in.
And Morgan reaching behind Fields that time. Morgan will take a seat here. Sydney Johnson, the transfer from Boston University, comes in as Fields and Dillard head back to the bench. Got to get Carly Hooks going if you're Kennesaw State.
Yeah, they need her shooting. She's second on this team right now in scoring, averaging about 8.5 points a game. So she's a shooter, and she's going to look for that 3. We haven't seen it thus far in this first quarter, but I know that Coach Blue wants to get her going in this game.
Might be a substitution question or a clock question. That's what we're working on here. Want to reset the shot clock, I believe. I think the game clock is currently set at 1 hour and 12 minutes. That's why that extra zero's on the board. So I don't think that's going to work, Fallon.
Yeah, no, I don't think that is. There we go.
There it is, 1:20. That's what they wanted. So add 8 seconds.
That brings up some bad memories from practice.
I can only imagine. Ariadna Termis will come in. So actually, they keep the game clock the same at 1:12. They add 3 seconds to the shot clock. With that extra time, Coach Fortner said, you know what? I'm bringing in Ariadna Termis, freshman from Spain. Harden's had the hot hand, out to Hooks. Hooks, a senior for Kennesaw State in her second year, transferring in from East Tennessee State. There's a straightaway 3, and it's off the mark. And the rebound controlled underneath by Massop.
And that was some great hustle by Kennesaw State. That's how they have to go hard on the boards, especially on the offensive end against Georgia Tech.
And Termis with the steal. And
yeah, Coach Blue saw that right away, assisting the ref with the call. He saw it, but Termis just got a little too anxious. Probably couldn't believe she got that steal, and Coach Fortner is just telling her to slow it down a bit.
And we've talked about the absence of size for Georgia Tech early, Fallon. Termis is the exception, 6'6". She can be that interior presence, still some polish to be worked through in her game, but an exciting piece for Nell Fortner to add to this year's roster. Willis pressed by Johnson here. Now Kennesaw goes into the motion.
That was a good show by Termis to kind of throw Willis off.
Well, she regained her balance, though, and now with 3 on the shot clock, kicks it underneath to Massop. No, it's Princess Harden for 2.
Hey, Princess Harden is the scorer for Kennesaw State. Nice read by Willis to find her in the paint.
Laredo at the buzzer, short. But the Yellow Jackets shoot 71% from the field, and they've got a 23-10 advantage after the first quarter. 13 after the first quarter, but the bright spot for the Owls, Fallon, is they found another scoring threat this afternoon beyond Kira Berry. They've turned to Princess Harden. She's got 8 points.
Yeah, she's already above her average for the season, averaging about 7.3 points a game with 8 points, 4 of 6 from the field, and 2 rebounds. She was very active in that first quarter, and a big reason why Kennesaw State is only down 13.
Kira Berry, meanwhile, for Kennesaw State, she's taking just 1 shot. Ball back in her hands here.
And you see right now Georgia Tech playing this 1-3-1 zone. And they have Thomas Harris at the top, very active with their arms.
I was going to ask you, how important is it to have that length at the top?
Oh, you do. And we talked about with Coach Fortner last time, she enjoys playing that position, which I think that was a missed foul call, but it's getting kind of rough out there.
Yes, it is. Kennesaw retrieves it. Corner 3 ball, way too strong, but lands right in the lap of Harden. Now Berry, an offensive rebound. She can't finish it off, and finally, the Yellow Jackets the other way.
And that's great fight by Kennesaw State. They are being active on the boards. Unfortunately, they just couldn't convert on that last possession.
Now for Kennesaw State, Georgia Tech shot over 65% in the first quarter. What can they do defensively to turn things around?
Well, I think defensively what Kennesaw State can do against Georgia Tech is just they have to continue to be active. Right now, Georgia Tech is just shooting lights out. That's not going to continue the whole game. And I think just stay the course with Coach Blue's game plan. Just trying to be active and limit Georgia Tech's opportunities in the paint.
3-point try for Rupel. She's got it.
And that helps. That helps when you have somebody who can shoot the 3 ball. That'll get you back in the game.
Well, that has been such a sore spot for Kennesaw State early this year. They've shot just 21% from beyond the arc. In fact, Kira Berry entering today had more threes herself than the rest of her teammates combined, as Morgan draws another foul, and she'll get a couple of shots from the free throw line.
Kennesaw State foul charge number 22,
And we see this right now. Nice scoop skip pass to Rupel, and she's able to knock down the 3 in the corner, which is a tough shot to make, but that was a basket that Kennesaw State needed. And now Georgia Tech's lead is just 10.
Rupel, freshman from Jacksonville, Florida. And Morgan misses another free throw. She's 1 for 5. She started the season 1 for 12 from 3, Fallon, which tells me 2 things. 1, she hadn't been shooting it very well, and 2, they want her to take those shots. So it's good to see her confidence perhaps boosted by that make.
It is. Once you see the ball go through the basket, that confidence starts to shoot up. And all you need to see sometimes is just one, because she's had a rough start to the season with her three-point shooting.
Willis gets past Thomas Harris. Coach Blue looking for a skip pass. She's got it. Rupel takes the shot. Bullseye!
Hey, I think it's wide open now. Look at Kennesaw State making a nice run in this second quarter.
Had just 1 3 the first 3 games of the season. She's made back-to-back threes.
And Kennesaw State doing a great job with their full court pressure, slowing Georgia Tech down.
Morgan, baseline 2.
As soon as I say it, it's slowing Georgia Tech down, but it's tough to slow Tonie Morgan down.
Second in the ACC in assists and averaging 17 points a night. She's looking like an all-ACC performer again this year.
She is, you know, made the all-rookie team a season ago. She's looking for some more accolades to put on her trophy case.
And Sydney Johnson completely smothered that spin move from Lily Willis.
And we said it, Sydney Johnson, that transferred from Boston University, is a steady backup point guard, but that's great defense against Willis. And she grabbed that midair, almost got it as she was going out of bounds.
Thomas Harris will go to the free throw line, where she was massive on Thursday night in that win over Rice.
No, he says she's already perfect from the free throw line on the season. I don't want to jinx her, but had key free throws down the line as Georgia Tech was trying to secure the road win against Rice, going 8 for 8 from the free throw line.
Rice led that game for 38 minutes, Fallon, but Georgia Tech led it for the final minute and got the win.
That's all that matters. It doesn't matter who's leading the majority of the game. It's when the shot clock ends and expires who has the most points, and Georgia Tech was able to pull off a good road victory against a good Rice team.
And Thomas Harris, a freshman, now 9 for 9 from the free throw line.
And that's big to see from a freshman, you know, coming into her first season. I say these freshmen for Georgia Tech, Augustinaite, as well as Thomas Harris, very confident and poised to play in these situations, getting some valuable minutes and learning a lot to prepare them for ACC play when it comes around in January.
Yeah, Thomas Harris, 12 points and 13 rebounds, a double-double in that win over Rice. She's Tech's leading rebounder despite averaging just 14 minutes off the bench this year. Rupel's been hot. 7 seconds to shoot. Hooks with the ball in her hands, tries to split the D, and a tricky over-the-head feed. And Kayla Blackshear couldn't quite get high enough to reel it in.
I mean, it was a great idea, just a bad pass by Hooks, and she has to get it going. Probably calm down a little bit. Nice whip pass by Tonie Morgan to the cutting Thomas Harris. Telling you, Tonie Morgan, sometimes I think she has eyes on the side and in the back of her head.
And we were discussing, you know, for Lily Willis not getting much playing time as a freshman. Boy, Tonie Morgan, she was baptized by fire last year, and she looks like a fine-tuned veteran at this point, and this is just her sophomore year. And
that's something that Coach Porter has talked about. You know, Georgia Tech didn't have the type of season they wanted a season ago, but her players, or her young players, freshmen, were able to get some valuable minutes in AC play and overall last season.
Shot clock about to expire. Rupel's got to get it off. She does. Too strong. Termes can't box out Blackshear, who nearly walked with it.
That was a good job by Blackshear going against the taller Termes, and was able to get that rebound.
And a nice little handoff there in the high post. A bounce, a shot, Hooks, still nothing. Offensive rebound, Taylor, and she's stuffed by Thomas Harris.
And all Thomas Harris did was just stand straight up and was able to get a block.
Oh, no look, Augustinaite. DTH for 2.
I'm really impressed with Thomas Harris. She runs the floor well, has good footwork down low. That was a solid move by the freshman. Just took her time and was able to score the basketball.
Well, when you're missing Kara Dunn, Fallon, I mean, what a luxury it is to have Thomas Harris come in as a freshman and be as efficient as she has been.
Right, and I don't think Coach Porter, she saw that or sees the talent, but just wasn't sure what she might get. And so far, early in this season, Thomas Harris is really producing for this Georgia Tech team.
Augustinaite, oh, and her first miss of the day from point blank. Another look for Thomas Harris, and she'll go to the line. These two freshmen for the Jackets.
They just play hard. They fight, and, you know, these players are very capable. We talked about Augustinaite. You know, she was a McDonald's All-American nominee, so we know she can hoop just with that alone, and she can shoot the three. She's a scorer naturally. And Thomas Harris is just an athlete, you know, competed with the Nike National Girls EYBL and won a championship with the 2023 season. So, you know, when you see the talent that these freshmen have, it's not surprising. They're coming in and they're being able to put up points and fill up the score sheet early in the season.
And for the first time this year, Thomas Harris misses a free throw, and she smiles. She knows she had a pretty good streak going.
Yeah, you can't stay perfect forever, but it's a nice start to her free throw shooting for this Georgia Tech club.
How much more travel ball is being played today versus when you were coming up, Fallon?
Oh, it's a lot more, especially to give players an opportunity just to get more visibility in order to move on to the next level or be recruited. So you just see so many different travel teams or these kids just playing probably all year round, never really getting a break.
And you're talking about the EYBL. It's just these freshmen come in. I mean, Augustinaite and Thomas Harris, prime examples. And they're ready to contribute. The skill level is just so much higher than you'd expect. As Sophia Rupel has found something.
She has, and that was a nice head fake to get her defender off her feet, create some space, and she was able to hit that baseline J.
She's got all 8 points for Kennesaw here in this second quarter. Laredo curling in, kicking out. Oh, crossover, step back. And that'll belong to Kennesaw State. Nobody touched it.
Yeah. That was a tough shot by Sydney Johnson, not able to knock it down, but Georgia Tech has been impressive in this second quarter, still with the lead in this one. And Georgia Tech trying to continue to see if they can get another home victory against KSU.
If you
Rusne Augustinaite, the ACC's leading three-point shooter. A true freshman from Lithuania found what a boost she has given this Georgia Tech offense the first couple of weeks.
I mean, she has. What you said it. She's shooting 69% from three to start the season, and she is a shooter. She can score the basketball. We've seen her take it off the dribble, and we've seen some of the mid-range moves that she has. But between her and then you look at Deasia Thomas-Harris, those are two key freshmen that Georgia Tech has on this roster that have really performed to start the season.
And that's a fitting shot right there. You've got the two freshmen, Thomas Harris and Rusne Augustinaite, who are kind enough to high-five while the camera's on them. And Kara Dunn right there in the middle. That's the big loss for Georgia Tech, and those two are one of the reasons the Yellow Jackets have survived Dunn's absence so far.
Well, that's good, because when we said it, right now Rusne Augustinaite is getting minutes that she wouldn't necessarily get if Kara Dunn was playing. So give her some time, some minutes, you know, get her some more opportunities with experience, playing with this team and in this lineup. And when Kara Dunn's ready to come back, I think that's going to be huge for Georgia Tech.
And before the jump ball, we've got a foul call. I thought, yes, it's going to be on Kayla Blackshear.
Tech foul charge number 13, Kayla Blackshear, her first team foul.
Well, it's been a smaller group on the scoring side. We've seen 50 points in this game combined, but it's only been about 7 scores. Layla Hood off the side of the backboard, coming off the bench for the first time this season. She started the first 3 games. And Laredo, there are her first points.
And that was a good job. Laredo was running out on the wing, running in transition, and was rewarded with that pass, gets the easy lay-in.
And for Kennesaw State, it's been more of the same so far. They have struggled to shoot. 7 for 23 from the floor. And we got another foul away from the ball. This is going to be on Jada Bediako, freshman from Brampton, Ontario, and she'll head back to the bench. Where are you going for offense for Kennesaw State right now? I mean, you saw Harden with 8 points in the first quarter. Rupel obviously 8 in the second quarter. Kiera Berry has not been a factor, not even on the floor right now.
Yeah, she hasn't been, but Georgia Tech, I mean, Kennesaw State needs to just continue to run their offensive sets. We heard Coach Blue earlier saying she wants to run her players off screens, see if they can get somebody open off the roll, off the split, the cut, or just find a shooter on the outside. But Georgia Tech's doing a great job defensively.
And they lost track of the shot clock that time, running those offensive sets. They got a good look, but it was 2 seconds too late.
Yeah, and it was a tough shot. She had to let it go in that release. But Georgia Tech, you got to applaud that defense. They were moving their feet. You know, they like to switch as a team because they have the lineup of the roster to be able to switch their post players on guards, vice versa. So Georgia Tech's being aggressive, and Kennesaw State, they have to figure something out. But I think it's just being aggressive, going to the paint, maybe drawing some fouls.
Another whip pass inside. That one complete to Blackshear. Morgan to Blackshear. We're going to hear that a lot this season.
I think we are. You know, Blackshear is going to be a huge key to this lineup for Georgia Tech, especially with that post presence that she gives Georgia Tech in scoring and rebounding.
10 assists on 15 field goals for Georgia Tech. They lead the ACC in assists this year. And good hands that time from Kayla Blackshear.
Yeah, that was great defense. She was going out trying to get hands up on Harden and goes out on a shooter just how you're supposed to and able to get that deflection on the pass.
So 13 on the shot clock. And Carly Hooks 0 for 4, looking for her first points tonight. They've got to get her going, not just today, but for the rest of the season. Ball in her hands, lift off, foul, and she'll get 2 shots.
And that was a tough shot that I'm not sure that Coach Blue wanted from Hooks, but she made something happen going to the free throw line for 2 shots. And again, we've been saying she's been struggling shooting the basketball this afternoon, and hopefully this can get her going because Kennesaw State, they need her offense this afternoon.
And there's really no other remedy other than just continuing to shoot, right?
Yeah, you got to keep shooting. Shooters keep shooting. Scorers keep trying to score.
That free throw does snap a 2.5-minute scoring drought for Kennesaw State. And Taylor with the rebound. Great work underneath Layla Hood. Knocked it loose, and Taylor had it an easy 2.
And that's the type of hustle you need. Kennesaw State in the second quarter, they've done a great job on the offensive rebounds, and that time they were rewarded. Got an easy putback.
Final 2 minutes of the first half. Noredo off the mark, won't out of Nas, an offensive rebound. Circling and looping. Johnson, a long 2. And one out of Nas, another board.
And that's why she's out here. You don't get many points from one out of Nas, but you get great defense, and she's going to work hard to get rebounds for her team.
No shot attempts with 3 boards and 2 dimes so far today for one out of Nas. They feed her inside. And her first shot is too strong. More second chance opportunities for the Yellow Jackets, and finally the Owls have it. Carly Hooks looking for contact. She got it.
And that was a good job. Laredo was trying to get her feet set, getting back, but was still moving. And Hooks just did a fantastic job continuing to drive to the basket and is able to draw the foul. And you see it right here. Laredo definitely moving her feet. That wasn't going to be an offensive charge, and Hooks does a great job putting her body into Laredo to draw the foul.
Carly Hooks began her career at East Tennessee State, but she's an Atlanta native out of Westlake High School, won 3 state titles.
I mean, she had some players on that squad with her.
Yeah, you know a little something about Westlake, right?
Yeah, no, Westlake, they had some incredible teams when Hooks was on that squad, including Raven Johnson, who's the starting point guard at South Carolina. So
a few more years, you'll see some WNBA representation from that squad.
Yeah, you definitely will.
So Noredo takes a seat. Aviance Carter, 15 in gold, checks in for the first time. So after making 1 of 2, Hooks, the ball in her hands. Ruppel's got 8 points this quarter. 5 to shoot. 4. Ruppel, another 3. Woo! You bet.
And that's the last player Georgia Tech needs to lose in this game. And you got to applaud Kennesaw State. They did a good job of setting screens to the next point where Ruppel ends up in the corner wide open for the 3.
Ruppel, through the first 3 games of this season, had scored 3 points. She's got 11 here in the second quarter. Johnson Sizing up the floor, goes down low to Blackshear. Cross court, Carter, an answer.
You know, we've said it, her shooting has improved, and that was a big-time three-point shot, something Georgia Tech needed because Kennesaw State was creeping up.
5 seconds left to go in the first half. Rupel, how hot is she? Georgia Tech, 39-25 will be their lead at the half. Kennesaw State still within shouting distance, thanks to we've seen from Sophia Rupel and company off the bench. Opening possessions, a turnover for the Jackets. Lily Willis looking for help. Goes to Harden, and a blocking foul on Tonie Morgan.
And I think that was the right call. Tonie Morgan was trying to get her feet set, but she was already right around the semicircle, her feet, and I think was a little too close for that charge call. Seemed like she got solid positioning. Well, no, she was outside of it, but was still moving. You can't do that.
So Lily Willis off to Carly Hooks. Kennesaw State shot 35% from the field. Hit 3 of 8 3-pointers, which was a big step in the right direction for a team that's really struggled beyond the arc this year. And Princess Harden, little shimmy into the paint.
And that was a big-time play because Georgia Tech was playing a matchup zone, and it looks like Harden just maneuvered and weaved her way to the basket and got a nice lay-in.
Tonie Morgan. Down the baseline, reverse. Oh, a little jelly on it.
And then she looked like she was bumped. Complaining a little bit about the hit, but a nice finish by the sophomore. She can put that razzle-dazzle on anybody just with her speed and quickness.
Ball back in Harden's hands. And away from the ball, we've got a foul here on Aisha Won-Adanaz.
And we see right here, Naredo swings it to Tonie Morgan, 101 on the wing against Lily Willis, and she just goes to the basket and knocks down the reverse, showing the athleticism.
Got the side eye for the official as well.
Like, I need that call. That should have been an and one. You got to talk to the refs a little bit so they know you're still out here.
Did you talk to the refs often when you were playing?
When I needed to, in key moments, not too much.
Yes.
It just played, but sometimes you have to let them know you're out there on the court so they can pay some better attention on what's going on.
Entry to the paint, a kick out, a 3 off the mark, and Naredo with the board. So you pick your spots is what you're saying.
I pick my spots. You don't want to talk to them too much. You give them too much attention, they'll really have a focus on you and start calling some calls against you.
Well, that seems like it might have trained you well for the courtroom, no? Turnover on the Yellow Jackets side.
Well, Kennesaw State, they've come out here playing well, continuing to play how they did in that second quarter. And they're not showing any fear against this Georgia Tech ball club.
Owls have never beaten Georgia Tech. In fact, the last 2 times they've played here, they've been outscored by an average margin of 25 points. Trying to flip that script here in the second quarter. Kendall Golden, that was a low line drive hook off the front of the rim.
But good defense by Won-Adanaz. Just had her positioning, kept her footing, and was able to alter that shot.
Yeah, Tonie Morgan, that was creative. She found Blackshear in a good spot, but partially blocked. Rupel was calling for it that time. They didn't recognize her early enough. And Kayla Blackshear with the swipe and the 2.
Yeah, Willis just too loose with the ball, too nonchalant in making that pass, and it was a nice read by Blackshear to get the steal and the lay-in.
Rupel dialing it up, and she's got it.
She's got it right now. She is on fire. She's feeling it. And I love the fact that she's running down the court, finding her spot, and her teammates are locating her and giving her the basketball.
That is her 4th 3-pointer of the afternoon. She's got a team best 14 points. And that foul gonna be on Carly Hooks.
And you know, right now, Kennesaw State, they're looking like a team that knows that they have a good chance or they can beat Georgia Tech if they just do the right things and play hard. Right now, you just see a burst of energy that you didn't see in the first quarter, started to see in the second, but it's more of a team effort, especially on the defensive end.
Yeah, since the start of the second quarter, both teams are even 20-20. It's that 23-point first that has given Georgia Tech the lead. Morgan with the ball in a string, and she's hacked. Kendall Golden couldn't believe it. She's called for her 3rd foul, though.
And that's a tough one, but a good decision by Tonie Morgan to drive it. You know, Georgia Tech struggling a bit to score, and she just gets up in the air and takes a hard hit from Harden, gets hit in the back of the head with Harden's knee, I think, or landed on her knee.
Tonie Morgan from Tallahassee. Florida State schools. A little bit of a steal there for Georgia Tech to get her in the ACC, but out of the state of Florida.
Substitution for the Jackets, number 32, De'Asia Thomas-Harris.
De'Asia Thomas-Harris back in, replacing Aisha Won-Adanaz. For all the things Kennesaw State has done right, they still find themselves down by 15 here in this 3rd quarter. They got to try and put a dent in it.
Well, they got to get some stops, too. They've gotten a couple, but just be really overtly, you know, making a concerted effort to try and stop Georgia Tech on the offensive end. They can't exchange baskets with Georgia Tech.
Owls are moving the ball well, and Willis can't get it off the glass. Massop goes up, no call. Augustinaite with the rebound. Laredo looking for a foul, and she got the call that time. It's going to be on Ruppel.
And you see Laredo really looking at that matchup against Ruppel and being aggressive. Look, she drew the foul and going to the free throw line for 2 shots. But she's been pretty quiet. We haven't said much about Laredo this afternoon, especially after she has such a stellar game against Rice on Thursday night.
Yeah, she had 16 points, 7 boards, 5 steals in that game against Rice. So far this afternoon, as you said, she's been quiet, now with 3 points. Just 1 of 7 from the field. Lead is up to 16. Harden, nice feed. Better recovery from Thomas-Harris.
Yeah, you said it. That was a great feed, but better defense by Thomas-Harris. And I really like this freshman. She's athletic. She moves her feet. A great read. Knew she had lost positioning with the lob pass, but was able to recover and get the block.
Yellow Jackets get the steal.
And she's asking for it.
Yeah.
Like Thomas-Harris, hey, she's out there working. She's like, I worked on the defensive end. Come reward me on the offensive end. Let me get a touch.
What does that tell you about a freshman who's barking out like that? What does that tell you?
She's hungry. If she's playing hard, I would feed her. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't see the numbers, if I don't hear you, I'm not going to give you the ball if I'm a guard. So at least she's being active and calling for it. They'll reward her when it comes to another possession.
Nothing else. It makes you feel like she's pretty comfortable in her role and confident in what she brings to this team. Blackshear has it ripped away. Massop the steal.
It was a great double team by Massop coming over to defend Blackshear, and a big time 3 by Ruppel.
Unconscious. 5 threes. All in the last 15 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, we got a ball game. Ruppel's keeping KSU really into this, hitting some big-time threes. I think that's her 5th three-pointer this afternoon, 5 of 8 from behind the arc.
And she's got 20 points on the season as a whole, 17 of them in the last quarter and a half. Another turnover. Harden and Georgia Tech, they're refusing to lose sight of Ruppel. A sloppy turnover right to Thomas-Harris.
And that was a good job. KSU got back. Looked like Augustinaite was going to have an open 3-point shot, and Georgia Tech's having to set up their offense on the half court.
A good recovery by Barry Thomas-Harris. She was calling for it, and she'll go to the line. Helped up by Massop.
And Thomas-Harris has such long arms. I mean, it makes it easy to give her those lob passes, and she does a great job of keeping her hands up and giving somewhat of a guide for the passer.
Kennesaw State hanging around, trailing by 13. We've reached our first time out of the second half. Sophia Ruppel cannot be stopped. One of the reasons Coach Blue wanted to bring Sophia Ruppel into the Kennesaw State program, not just her three-point shooting, but the way she plays with toughness and command.
Oh, she does, and she's been putting on a show between the second and third quarter, really shooting lights out for this Kennesaw State team. But I just think it's been impressive. You know, Georgia Tech, you know, is rebounding has been the key in the first couple of games they've had, and their opponents being a rebound with them or keeping it close. And Kennesaw State is just continuing the trend this afternoon, even with rebounds with 20 apiece, and 10 of those offensive rebounds, second chance opportunities.
Thomas Harris hits them both. She'll take a seat. One out of Nas coming in. I mean, the difference in this game right now, Fallon, yes, the first quarter, Georgia Tech 23-10, but really the damage in the paint.
Yeah, the damage in the paint has been all Georgia Tech, but you can applaud Kennesaw State when we talk about Ruppel, their bench points. Players off the bench have been coming in and stepping up for KSU right now. KSU outscoring Georgia Tech in bench points 19-11.
From just beyond the free throw line, Hooks can't hit it. Hooks and Berry have just been eerily quiet. They've combined for just 2 points.
And I'm sure, you know, you talk to Coach Blue, if she has one of those players going in this game, you know, you may be looking at a 10-point single-digit lead for Georgia Tech.
If you had told Coach Blue that she was going to get 19 points from her bench in the first 2.5 quarters, she'd have been ecstatic, but their top two scorers, Hooks and Berry, they've combined to score about 23 points a night in these first 3 games, and they just haven't been there.
They haven't. And it's just tough this afternoon because her team's putting on a solid showing, especially defensively, and rebounding the basketball well, but scoring, it's just been certain players rather than a team effort of just getting their key scores and their starting lineup going.
Kayla Blackshear hits both free throws. Taylor, a little short, and that's a quick possession for Kennesaw State. Morgan. The other thing Georgia Tech's done a good job of today, Fallon, is getting to the line.
They have, and getting some opportunities to, with the clock not going off or not going down, but that's been critical. Just being aggressive going to the paint.
And Wone out of Nas with her first points of the afternoon.
And she's capable of hitting that shot, like we said. She's not going to score a lot of points, but she has the intangibles, things that Georgia Tech need from her as a post player and a leader for this squad.
So you're saying that she's your classic player who doesn't show up in the box score?
Yeah, no. She shows up in the right ways,
yes.
But the intangibles is sometimes what
yes.
you need, doing the dirty work that other players don't want to do that you don't necessarily see in the box score. I think that's one out of Nas.
And that a lot of coaches will tell you that's the only way you win.
Yeah.
Is with players like that. Terry to Hooks. 6 to shoot. Ruppel, Augustinaite, she's doubled. And that shot short from Massop, and it'll stick with Kennesaw State. Good battle by Princess Harden.
And Princess Harden, she scored some buckets, 10 points in this game, and she has rebounded the basketball, very aggressive for KSU. And we saw it right there, gets her team another opportunity, another possession.
Yeah, Harden and Ruppel have combined for 27 of Kennesaw State's 33 points. Harden taking on Blackshear. And a wild pass. Berry has it, trying to create. She's still got it. 5 seconds to shoot. Hooks has got to let it go. Way too strong. And it's a shot clock violation.
And that was good defense by Wone Adenaz. I mean, she was going between Berry and then had Hooks behind the three-point line, defending both, and does a great job of getting a hand up, causing Hooks to miss that three-point shot.
Wone Adenaz, a fifth-year player, 4th year at Georgia Tech, began her career at Ohio State. But last year was a big moment for her. You know, we talked a lot about the freshmen getting experience. Wone Adenaz, she started 22 of the last 23 games. That was really her first long run. Is Rusne Augustinaite, who needs experience when you got her moves.
I mean, that was a nice move to the basket. She's been pretty quiet in the second half, but good to see that she still has it going for Georgia Tech. But you're right, Wone Adenaz got some great experience a season ago, especially with Nerea Hermosa being in and out of the starting lineup, but good exposure. She was steady, some great experience, especially in the ACC, and became a key component and leader for this Georgia Tech roster.
Ruppel Boy, they're stifling her, suffocating her defensively as they go to Harden, throws up a wild shot. Now Tonie Morgan the other way. Aggressive one-hand bounce pass, and Laredo can't haul it in.
I mean, that was a nice look, but we got to give Barry credit. She got back to get a deflection on that, because that was looking like it was going to be a thread the needle and an easy lay-in.
Rusne Augustinaite. Wow.
And she got it high off the glass, was able to finish that.
Blackshear scoop and score. 10-0 run for Georgia Tech out of the timeout. It's been nearly 4 minutes without any points for Kennesaw State. And Golden can't handle it. Laredo, good active hands.
And you see Golden telling her she has to get that up. Willis threw more of a line drive pass inside. Lob it. She had the height advantage. Golden did, and that would have been an easy layup if it was the right pass.
And that's going to come with experience, right? Lily Willis, like we said, missed almost all the second half of last season with injury. First year, the starting point guard. I mean, with Coach Blue told us when you got Imani Johnson, who's one of the best players in Kennesaw's Division I history, she can be on the floor a lot.
Yeah. She wasn't, and Monty Johnson, they lost 7 players from a season ago, bringing in transfers, and you have freshmen. They're still trying to gel and figure it out, what this team's identity is, but, Coach Blue is excited because she sees her team, or these women have been working hard, practicing hard, and continuing to try and get better.
They really return about 1.5 starters. You've got Carly Hooks, who started 21 games last year, and in addition to her, Princess Harden started about half the games last season, but for the most part, I mean, Coach Blue is trying to find that chemistry. She has added 7 new players to the 7 returners this year. And the free throw shooting has been an area of improvement for Georgia Tech this year. They were the worst free throw shooting team in the ACC last year.
Yeah, they were, and they have improved to start this season. Already this afternoon, they're 63%, a little below their average.
Yeah, they were shooting 77% entering this afternoon, so neither team's been perfect from the free throw line as the Yellow Jackets get a charge that time. Inez Laredo, big roar for her bench.
Yeah, that was, but she's now
she's
down,
on
took
the
a hard
ground.
hit.
Okay. I'm willing to bet you got to see the replay there, but I got to think that LED board there on the scorer's table probably wasn't very forgiving.
No, but it was great hustle by Laredo, moving her feet, trying to stop Willis from moving the basketball up court in transition, and she got rewarded with the offensive charge call.
Kennesaw State is over the limit, player control foul.
So a 12-0 run for Georgia Tech continues. Laredo's going to take a seat after the hard fall. Sydney Johnson is in. So the Jackets up by 25. Blackshear the screen. And a ferocious rebound from Kaylin Fields.
Yeah, that was nice, and Kennesaw State just limited Georgia Tech to 1 shot, was able to get that board after Tonie Morgan's miss.
I beg your pardon, Trinice Taylor there on the rebound. Final 45 seconds here in the third quarter. The Yellow Jackets have pulled away in the last 5 minutes. Lily Willis with 6 to shoot. Cuts it loose. Johnson the rebound. Shot clock and game clock almost deadlocked. And it's Tonie Morgan. In the third quarter, Georgia Tech, 5 of 8 from the field, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. Johnson beyond the elbow. Taylor another rebound. Fields has got to shoot it. She got it away.
So close, but it was a good shot. You gotta let it go. If you don't let it go, you don't have a chance.
Georgia Tech, they've pulled away. 1 quarter away.
Always in the kitchen cooking meals, but that's great. A great opportunity to get some camaraderie going with your team and just to eat and fellowship. But she said they're going to be working. They're going to be peeling some potatoes and basting into some turkeys for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, she's putting them to work. She said she's got a bunch of sous chefs in the kitchen ready to go on Tuesday. But for Coach Blue, look, Fallon, at Kennesaw State, you know, it's been a long climb for them to try and get this women's basketball program to where they want. In the first 2 years under Coach Blue, I don't think you can call it anything other than a success. They finished tied for 8th in year 1 in the Atlantic Sun. They won more conference games than they had in 15 years last year, going 10-8 in the A-Sun, and they're joining the Conference USA next year. And they've got some momentum going.
It is. I mean, it's been tremendous what you've seen from the women's and men's program at Kennesaw State. You know, we know what the men's program did a season ago, making it to the NCAA tournament. But Coach Blue has the right trajectory with this team. It's just going to take some time. It's new lineups, new players she's bringing in and out. But this is the first season that she's had all the players that she and her staff have recruited or brought in since she's been the head coach.
And by the way, Rusne Augustinaite hit another 3.
Yeah.
You know, what else is new? She's now
the trend.
6 of 7 from the field today. And oh no, Lily Willis is in pain.
Yeah, that was a hard fall.
Yeah, sophomore guard. She's getting some attention from their trainer, Kyle Zimmerman. It was a hard fall. Hope she's okay.
Yeah, hopefully she gets up and is able to move on her own. But that took a hard fall. She was in the paint in the lane. Didn't even really see what happened, but you hate to see a player go down like that.
Coach Blue on one knee along with Kyle Zimmerman, the trainer for Kennesaw. And look, Lily Willis, she's had a lot on her shoulders this year, stepping in as the point guard, replacing Amani Johnson. Didn't get a whole lot of experience last year because she was hurt, and now they're looking pretty closely at that knee.
Yeah, you never want to see that. I mean, especially a player, like you said, a season ago, she didn't play in a lot of games, only played in 8 games last season. But injuries have plagued her early in her young career at Kennesaw State, and she's been getting a lot of time and minutes this season for Kennesaw State, you know, at the point guard position.
Let's see what happens here. She's driving. Ooh. Oh, no. That right knee, and it was, I don't want to call it non-contact, but I mean, it was really when she was running towards the floor, and she's going to be helped to the bench here, completely off her feet. How about Princess Harden? That's a teammate right there.
No, right there. Massive. She's looking super strong, able to carry her teammate to the bench. So that's a teammate for you right there.
Hope she's okay, but that looked like a pretty painful knee injury. And less important news, that was Tonie Morgan's 4th foul. Georgia Tech, of course, ahead by 28 points here in the 4th quarter. And now Carly Hooks will have to run the point here. And she's got the foul. This will be on Inez Noredo.
And it's been a lot of contact by Georgia Tech, not really moving their feet, playing a lot of different lineups or defenses, some zone. We've seen some 3-2, some 1-3-1, and definitely some man-to-man, but just a little overly aggressive, and Hooks just did a good job of getting to her spot and drawing a foul.
Well, at this point in the game, Fallon, you know, time and score being what it is, I imagine this is an opportunity for Coach Fortner to try some different things, both tactically and personnel-wise.
Mix it up, because the road down getting closer to ACC play does not get better, and you know Georgia Tech is going to get a little sun come Thursday on Thanksgiving Day in the Cancun Challenge. I wish I could go on that trip, but it's some fun in the sun, but some work to do with some basketball as well, playing Creighton on Thursday.
Tell you what, Fallon, with your credentials and charisma, I bet you could talk your way onto that flight if you wanted to.
I was thinking about it. You need an extra. I could be a manager or something. Do some radio.
Yeah, I can erase a whiteboard just fine. Sydney Johnson and Taylor with the board. But for Georgia Tech, you look at the ACC schedule, it gets hot and heavy once we hit the new year. They've got at Florida State to start the ACC slate. home against Virginia. They've also got Florida State and Notre Dame coming here to Atlanta at the end of January, early February. It's going to be a tough year in the league for everyone. And I think one of the things you're most curious to see, Fallon, with this Georgia Tech team in ACC play is, can Deasia Thomas-Harris and Rusne Augustinaite keep this up in conference play?
Yeah, because you don't want your freshmen to get tired or overwhelmed. And once ACC play comes around, that can get overwhelming because it's every given night you're going to be playing against a top caliber team. Right now, the ACC has 7 ranked teams in the top 25, and I think they're the only conference to have that number, being first in the country. But it's not going to change. It's more talent in the league. Teams have gotten better and improved, and you got to go against the likes of a Virginia Tech, a Notre Dame. When you're playing against that type of stiff competition, it's only going to make you better. But those freshmen are going to have to be ready. Yeah,
and on top of that, Fallon, I mean, with what they're doing here in the non-conference, their names are going to be on that scouting report for the opponent.
Yes. Yes, and it's one time that you give, even with the scouting report, for a team to get to know how you play and make adjustments. But, you know, when you play teams twice in a season, especially the ones on your side of the league, then they have a good scout and know how to play you. And that's when the freshmen have to learn to make those adjustments.
Kiera Berry, the leading scorer for Kennesaw State, is still scoreless this afternoon. Hooks and Berry are a combined 0 for 8 from the field, foul.
I don't think Coach Blue would have thought that. You know, her 2 leading scorers right now sitting with 0 points or just not really much of a contribution offensively today.
And Deasia Thomas-Harris now in double figures. Kennesaw State wants to take a timeout. But if there's a silver lining for Kennesaw State this afternoon, they found Deasia Thomas-Harris, freshman for the Yellow Jackets, got a win near her hometown, Katy, Texas, over Rice on Thursday. First double-double by a Yellow Jacket this year, and she's got an 11 and 5 this afternoon.
Well, she's being consistent. We know she can score the basketball. She's a good free throw shooter, but I think she's an exceptional rebounder, and that's something that Georgia Tech was missing. They can't rely on Blackshear to get all the rebounds, and it's good to see that the freshman has stepped up in that area.
Especially with Kara Dunn still on the bench. And you know, we spoke with Coach Fortner about that injury for Kara. And you know, the expectation is not that it's season ending, but it will be season impacting, if that makes sense. Something she might have to just, you know, manage really moving forward in her basketball career.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to watch it closely, but in these games, especially before you get into conference play, if you consider, and you know, Georgia Tech is still able to win games and playing well and giving other players opportunities to get some experience with her not playing the last 3 games. Really didn't play in the first game, played less than 2 minutes. So it's going to be critical, but they are probably going to hold her out as long as possible. So when January into December comes around, she's ready to go.
Yeah, that ACC opener is December 29th. So you still got about 6 weeks. Thomas-Harris flashing open, and an easy 2. She's got a career high.
I mean, I just love it. It's the fundamentals, and she catches it high and keeps it high, and that's something that you have to teach. A lot of post players, they like to bring the basketball down to allow the pesky guards to get a hand on it, and that's something that Thomas-Harris does not do, and that's why she's able to score so easily when she's in the paint.
Kennesaw State still without a field goal in this quarter. This has been a pretty serious run for Georgia Tech. It's a 20-1 run since late in the 3rd quarter, and another shot clock violation of the turnover for Kennesaw State.
Right now, Kennesaw State is just playing through it. It's tough to see a teammate go down, but you know, Willis is their point guard, and she was at least getting them into their offense.
And here a foul on Kayla Massop. Or I beg your pardon, that's going to be on Georgia Tech, Deasia Thomas-Harris. No. I got deked by our PA announcer. I thought it was on 32 Kennesaw. He announced 32 Georgia Tech. Anyway, it's also a 32-point lead here. Termes, there it is. Ariadne Termes.
Yeah, Termes doing a great job right there, just setting herself up. But we've seen it as she's played in the first few games that she's capable of knocking down that free throw line jump shot.
And you kind of lose sight of a freshman's, or lose perspective on a freshman's development when you see Augustinaite and Thomas Harris. But I think Ariadna Termes, you're seeing some flashes here early on in her career that she can be a real force on both ends of the floor for Georgia Tech.
She could. She has size. I mean, as she continues to grow as a player here at Georgia Tech, they're going to put on some weight. She's going to build some muscle to make her stronger and to be able to battle with the post players that she's going to face in the ACC. But it was a nice feed by Augustinaite, and she sets herself up right there at the free throw line and is able to knock down that shot.
A couple of new faces coming in. Caitlin Wilson for Georgia Tech, fifth-year senior transfer from Cincinnati. Meanwhile, we've also got Lawrence Ofali in for Kennesaw State.
I like it.
How about it?
Termes, she just took her time. It was a nice pass by Thomas Harris with the two-man game, and she had lost her footing a bit, regathered, and was able to get that lay-in. Nice hook shot.
Princess Harden. Can Kennesaw State get into their offense without Lily Willis, who went down with a knee injury? She had to be carried to the Kennesaw State bench. And the rebound for Wilson. Thomas Harris, easy.
And she's inside. And right now, Nell Fortin has cleared the bench. No starters in for Georgia Tech, and they're making it look pretty easy in the fourth.
Our final timeout of the afternoon. Georgia Tech has run far away from the Owls here in the second half.
Watch me. Watch my first step turn to leaps.
Hosting number 16 UNC, and then in the second half you got Louisville, number 19 in the country. You've also got Notre Dame coming up. It's no surprise, but another tough schedule in the ACC.
Yeah, it's going to be competitive. 7 ranked teams in the top 25 coming from the ACC in women's basketball, and it's just continuing what we saw a season ago. I mean, you had Virginia Tech in the Final Four. You had Miami in the Elite Eight. So it was some nice showing for the ACC when it came to the NCAA tournament.
Good defense from Bediako down low. This will be Georgia Tech basketball. And for Kennesaw State, they've now missed their last 17 shots. You mix that in with Lily Willis, their point guard, going down with what at least appeared to be a serious injury. That kind of takes some of the wind out of your sails.
It does, and you never want to see a teammate go down like that. Had to be carried off the court. But Kennesaw State, they've put on a fight this afternoon, and it's going to be a growing pains, a learning experience, but I think they're going to be a competitive team once they start conference play in the ASUN.
Foul on the floor there against Kendall Golden. And she is fouled out. So Kayla Massop will come in. For Georgia Tech in the ACC, I mean, obviously the competition is going to be a little tougher. What's going to be the key for them offensively in the league, in your mind?
To stay competitive and to have shooters like Augustinaite continuing to shoot the ball well, and as well as Laredo, because that gives them three-point shooting that they didn't have a season ago. And I think Tonie Morgan being the leader, she's only a sophomore, but being able to orchestrate the offense and setting up her teammates. And it's going to be key for them to keep Blackshear active. She's going to need touches.
Sydney Johnson. She's now got 2 points. Getting on the board here in the final 5 minutes. Ooh, nice active hands from Caitlin Wilson. I was watching an interview Caitlin Wilson did a couple of weeks ago. Got a big kick out of it. She said one of the things she doesn't like is to be sweaty. I was like, well, Caitlin, hey, I appreciate the honesty. I'm not saying anybody loves it, but
oh man, I can tell you.
You got an interesting commitment as far as being a basketball player. There's a lot of sweating that goes on the floor.
Well, I bet she doesn't like playing against or having an opponent that she has to guard that's incredibly sweaty.
Yeah, exactly. Oh boy. And another shot clock violation. That'll be Georgia Tech basketball. Kennesaw State just 1 point here in the fourth quarter. But, I think there are some positives for Kennesaw. They found, okay, Sophia Ruppel recruited her as a shooter.
Sure.
She showcased it today with 17 points. Princess Harden, one of her best games of the season. She put up 10 points, although 8 of those were in the first quarter. And I suppose you figure between Caitlin Wilson, I tell you what.
You keep shooting like that, you might not sweat.
Yeah, she'd be ice cold.
Well, you know, Kennesaw State, this is something for them to build on. I mean, they got a big game coming up on Saturday after the Thanksgiving break against Florida Atlantic at home. So I'm sure they'll be happy to get back home. You know, 2 road games against GSU where they had a tough loss, losing by 10, and then this afternoon with Georgia Tech, it's looking like they'll close this one out. But to get back in the winning column, hopefully against Florida Atlantic at home.
Yeah, Rupel did not get the shot off. But again, if you're Kennesaw, I think you're looking at, you know, Carly Hooks and Kiera Berry and saying, all right, well, there aren't going to be many nights where they go a combined 0 for 11 from the floor.
No, it won't. I mean, you just got to think about the size Georgia Tech especially has with their guards, and their guards defend well. And they just had looked at the scouting report, knew what the strategy was this afternoon, and Berry was a key, a player they wanted to shut down and lock in on, and they did it this afternoon.
So Foley works around Johnson, and there it is, the first basket of the fourth quarter for Kennesaw. They needed that. But the Yellow Jackets poised to improve to 4-0. And they have done it by putting the clamps on Kennesaw State in the final 15 minutes of this one as Termiss has it blocked. Spin, Fields, ooh. Okay.
That was a nice move by the freshman. You know, she's getting some quality minutes this afternoon too, and you know, especially if it's no real timetable yet to know how long Willis could be out if she is out the next game. Coach Blue trying to get her freshmen some minutes.
Yeah, no kidding. Again, Lily Willis was helped off the floor to the bench with about 9 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. And really, since that point, it's been all Georgia Tech until these final 60 seconds or so. And Massock just short. Carter with the rebound. But for the Yellow Jackets, made some strides defensively there in the second half. And they will head to Cancun, Mexico with an unblemished record of 4-0. And, you know, this is a season that Coach Fortner and the entire program feel like it's a chance for them to return some of the lumps they took last year, and they're off to a good start.
Right, she believes in this team, even though they're young and, you know, have some transfers who are coming in. Picked 12th preseason in the ACC, but she really believes that this team can do better than that, and they're working hard to reach that goal.
Well, you can't do any better than 4-0 at this point, and that's where the Yellow Jackets are at.